Yeah.
Good. I'm sure while I'm talking, it'll turn to 7. There you go.
There you go.
Welcome to our City Council regular meeting, and it's 7 o'clock on the 4th of February. We will dispense with the roll call. Everybody's here, and I would like to ask if someone would like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thanks, Fred.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Fred. I'd like to ask if someone would like to leave us with an inspirational thought for the night or offer an invocation.
I'll be glad to.
Thanks, Art.
Dear Father in heaven, we're grateful for this opportunity to assemble as a city council and for the citizens that are here. We're mindful of our responsibilities and duties to make decisions that are in the best interest of each of our citizens collectively. We're thankful for the freedoms we enjoy and for the good people that we have an opportunity to work with and to live and be around. We plead for and ask for additional moisture that we so desperately need. We ask thee to bless this area appropriately. We offer this prayer and give thee thanks for thy Son, our Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thanks, Art. Do I need a declaration of a potential conflict of interest for any of the items that we're going to discuss tonight? Good to move on? Okay. Want to move straight to the consent agenda. Start with the work meeting of the 21st of January. You've had a chance to go through them. Are there any corrections, additions, or changes that need to be made? Good to go? Okay, the regular city council meeting for that night, the same thing. Are there any changes, additions, corrections to what was placed in there that you saw? Okay, good to move with that one. Go to the bills, which is the amount of $561,475.16.
I was just pleased to see it was so low.
I know. It's about half what it usually is.
Yeah.
We spend it all on Christmas. Is that what we're hearing? Okay, then what? We have one other thing, and that's the resolution for the surplus property. And this is the plotter that's 10 years old or so that we talked about a little bit in the last meeting. Did anybody have any questions on that plotter? Anything at all? Are we good to go with moving forward, do you think? All right, then I would call for a motion on the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion's made. Is there a second?
I'll second.
And seconded. Travis?
Aye.
Lynn?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Art?
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
Motion passed for the consent agenda. We'll just move right along here if you don't mind. Public forum. First item is the, I don't have a list of anybody that wanted to speak. Okay. Then we'll just go straight to the chamber. Jim, if you would.
Hello, Jim Rowland, President and CEO of the Payson Santaquin Chamber of Commerce. Glad to be here. First, I have a new pacemaker. I have no more tape, tubes, or external devices keeping me alive and healthy anymore. So a couple more weeks, I'll be able to take a full swing. I'll take a full swing, and then maybe the mayor and I can get out on the golf course.
Now we're talking. That Chamber of Commerce finally came around.
Today would have been the day, right? Holy cow. It was
Yeah.
beautiful. Nice
You know what?
Florida winter. This is what it's like in Florida in February.
Yesterday was really good.
Yeah.
You missed a good one.
A couple things. This Thursday at 6 p.m. is our gala. And I've got you all on the list as attending, except for Norm. Sorry we can't see you there. If anybody is unable to make it, then we'll squeeze somebody else in your seat because we have 151 people registered for the event. I thought the room fit 150 comfortably, but apparently it doesn't. So we'll be a little squeezed in and tight, and it'll be a very good community. The last year, 20 people didn't show up, so my expectation is maybe 10 or 20 may not show up this year, and we'll be just fine. But it'll be a great event, and I assume there'll be a little parking issue, so I encourage you to get here early if you want to park in the back, close to the door. But it'll be a really fun night. I'm really looking forward to it. And then please put on your calendar March 17th. It's our third annual family bowling night at it's family bowling night and laser tag night at South County Lanes in Payson. We'll probably sell out. I mean, they're free. We'll fill up our registration. So whenever you see that come out in the newsletter, if you want to go, I encourage you to register quickly before there's no more seats available. I met with Shauna Joe and Lindsay this week to discuss the summer's hometown market. And we are working on ways to introduce more people to the event. We've got some money through the grant to help us encourage to get the businesses to show off their products to the community. And our biggest concern is getting the community to come see all these products. So we may do some billboard advertisement and create a little bit more stir in the community to get down to the park and enjoy that evening. One proposal was to move the event from Monday night to Friday night. Most everyone on the committees, we took it back to the Chambers Committee, kind of likes that idea. I'd like to get your opinions on a Friday versus Monday night. Mayor?
You want my
you come on
opinion?
Mondays.
It's a cheap date.
Yeah?
Yeah. But we go to the Monday night one too,
So would it matter
To me personally, it's the same.
Jim?
I'm sorry, I know I don't.
No, you're good.
But as a vendor that does 7 different farmers markets, if you got off Monday night, you'd have a chance to capture those vendors who are
Springville.
already committed for Monday night. Friday night's wide open.
Yeah.
You could possibly get more vendors to your Friday night.
Okay, that was one thought that we had as well.
And I'll add to the city does like soccer league and there's other sports that typically happen during Monday. I typically would leave early or show, like working around that schedule. So Friday, I from my understanding is more open when it comes to commitments with kids and other things. So
yeah, the dates would end up being 1 June date, 1 July date, 3 August dates, and 2 September dates. So we'll have events. School will be in session. Football Friday nights would be the only thing that might draw some people away, but not everybody's involved with football. So anyway, any other thoughts? Jeff, you're a consistent Monday night attendee.
No, probably either
Friday
overnight.
just as good.
Yeah, that'll be fine.
Fantastic.
You might want to talk to Shauna Joe, see when the sports are happening for the kids, just so we can avoid
Yeah,
that conflict.
they've got the dates. I've sent those dates over, so we're kind of hopefully make final plans by the end of February. Is our
Okay.
goal.
You're still leaning towards just every other week though, huh?
For the most part, yes. There's a lot of things that happen on Friday between June and September. 4th of July happens to be on Friday this year. And the Salmon Supper in Payson happens on a Friday. that whole week with Orchard Days anyway is out for the Marquette. You've got the Monday night family night. That's a part of Orchard Days. So that would remain obviously on Monday and do that. But it would be probably 3 days in a row, and 3 Fridays in a row in August. So
Okay.
anyway, we're excited about having the extra money and the ability to try to, get some crowds here so the vendors are happy and able to sell their goods. So we're pretty excited about the year ahead. Lastly, we're doing our magazine, should be finalized by the end of this month. The editor tells me that they get their demographics just online. Is there a better source of your demographics that we should be reaching out to versus just finding random numbers online?
I think it would be good to look at it.
They were pretty close. I mean, I haven't gotten any complaints from any cities saying the numbers are way off. Last year we showed Santaquin to have a population of 20,105 a year ago. Fairly close, huh?
There's all sorts of numbers out there.
Yeah.
We're happy to look at it and make
Okay.
any adjustments, but obviously it's not like it's gonna.
I mean, if there's
change
any
anything.
particular calendar events, maybe not a normal event that we would know about, then just let us know so we can get it in the magazine as well. All right. But we're not here to talk about me and the chamber. We're here to talk about somebody special. I'm excited to announce our most recent winner of the Chamber Community Service Award. And we're going to present that tonight to Jenny Staley. And I invite her and her husband, if he'd like to join her, to come on up. And I want to share a few reasons why she is so deserving of this award. Jenny is an English and history teacher at Payson High School and has been teaching at the school for the past 6 years. She's influenced the lives of hundreds of students in those 6 years, but she will be forever known as the person whose incredible effort brought Kevin Bacon back to Payson High School.
Oh, you're the one.
Now, if you search Jenny's name and Payson High School on Google, you don't have to scroll very far before Kevin Bacon and Footloose come up with Jenny's name associated with it. So she's made an impact around the globe. It is wonderful to read the heartfelt comments about her dedication to this project. Jenny's hard work and commitment have not gone unnoticed, and it's inspiring to see how much impact you've made in our community. Thank you. Jenny and her team of students pulled off what many said would be impossible, getting Kevin Bacon to return to Payson High School for the 40th anniversary of Footloose, the summer blockbuster of 1984 and a culturally iconic movie. Was anybody in this room in that movie?
Nobody.
Okay.
Shoot, I had 3 kids. Yeah.
Who's that?
The home I grew up in.
Ah, there you go. There you go.
Oh, that's right.
So Jenny's leadership taught her students and students around the globe that when you come together with a goal and a vision, you can make anything happen. She had to guide her students, but mostly she had to stay out of their way and let them lead. Sometimes that's the hardest part of working with youth. Jenny is an amazing educator, leader, and inspiration to her students. And not only did they get the attention of Kevin Bacon, but the entire world. A public relations firm hired by the Utah Film Commission shared these impressive numbers with the school on the morning the news broke on NBC's Today Show. I had to double check how to read some of these numbers. The broadcast news mentions of Kevin Bacon and Payson internationally had 1,057 mentions, which is a potential reach of 419,102,576 people. Estimated media value for this much attention is almost 3 times more than the cost of this year's Super Bowl ad. Commercials coming in at $22,376,698.33. That's a lot of reach.
Did they send you that in the
What
mail?
was your
They send you
cut?
the check?
I got none of that.
She's still teaching, so she didn't get it.
That's right. She's still here. Nationally, there was 852 mentions. I found it interesting that it was mentioned more internationally than nationally, with a potential reach of 1,682,821,818 people. Estimated media value in the States, $15,566,000. And locally, there were 67 mentions with a potential reach of 19,780,000 and an estimated media value of $182,967.02.
Wow.
Pretty exact numbers.
It's been a minute since I've heard those. So
Yeah.
that's amazing.
That is pretty remarkable. In addition to this media outreach, Janie and her student council members enlisted donors nationwide to donate money and in-kind items to make 5,000 kits for neighbors in need through Kevin's 6degrees.org charitable organization. It was a very special day, and I'm sure an incredible experience for you and one you'll never forget. Congratulations on receiving our award, a little late, but
Wow. Thank you very much.
that is yours. And we'd like
You know, that first figure, isn't that almost a third of the world's planet for the international one? Almost a
It's not
third.
an exaggeration to say that we were the most famous high school in the world for a hot minute.
Hey, I did go to that high school, but it was a lot older, or a lot younger then.
So I'd like you to share just a couple memories of that event or the experience,
Oh, wow.
working with the youth, and maybe a little bit more about other things that you do for our students, our children, and our community.
Wow.
If you
Sure.
could.
Thank you. So this actually came as quite a surprise. I've said many times that this was not a student council project. This was a Payson High School community project, and it was something that we really could not have accomplished without the support of the staff at the school and the people that were there encouraging us. I've talked to Travis several times. He was like, "This is gonna work. This is gonna work. You guys have set this up, so it's gonna work."
I called it.
He really did. So we had a really great supportive community in Payson and Santaquin as well. People really showed up for us, and I just every day I kind of marvel at the impact that it had on our community, and the feeling that it created here during that really kind of intense couple of months that we were just right there. Some of the things that I really remember, maybe my favorite thing, and this maybe sounds something that was small at the time, but the district lunch department wanted to do a special 80s cafeteria style lunch to celebrate Footloose the week that he was coming. And so they did that. They coordinated with the lunch ladies, and they cooked the food, and they opened up the kitchen, and they played the music, and it was like I went down to eat lunch that day, and it was like I was in 1984 again. It was amazing. It really was so much fun to just see everybody down there having just such a good time with this whole thing. But the day that he came was probably the most insane day I've ever lived through. It was really crazy. But I feel like the one thing that really stands out to me is the reaction of the kids. We had been planning this and working on this for about 2.5 years by the time it actually came to fruition. And the day that he came, they'd known he was coming. They'd been working hard. They'd been getting up early and staying late and doing all the things that we asked them to do. And, he walked out onto our track and onto the stage that we had set up on our football field and started talking to the people that we knew in our community. And I looked around at my group of kids, and they were crying. Many of them, they were so emotional, just because they had just put their whole heart and soul into this effort and had seen it succeed. And it was really, I think, the thing that has stayed with me and will continue to stay with me as the result of this experience is that it was really an impossible dream for all of us. And they came away feeling like they could reach for the impossible and succeed. And that's never going to be another lesson that they get to learn in the way that they did with this project. So I've really been grateful for that. I think the other thing that is going to stick with me for a really long time is the sense of connection that people felt to this. I think that those numbers that you read to us, Jim, were that just the sense that people all over the world were feeling so passionate about this one project, this one campaign. Everybody was interested in it. They all were pulling for us, and they all were interested in what he was going to do, and is he going to come, and how's it going to look, and even the people from 6 Degrees said that they had been, people had been reaching out to them and were so interested in this campaign for that very reason, because of the connection that it brought across the world to this one thing, this one goal that we all wanted to see succeed. And it was a win-win-win for everybody. It was just such a good feel-good thing for everybody, and we needed that, I think, and it was really fabulous. So
what's your next project?
My next project, I don't know. We've got a whole new high school to move into. That's going to be a project in and of itself. But we actually this week, on Thursday, I'm taking a group of kids up to Weber State. They do a student council leadership conference every year, and they asked us to come and present on this project that we did. And so I'm taking a group of kids up to Weber State. We're the keynote speakers, and they've got a presentation that they've been working on all week that we're going to present on Thursday. And good. So it's kind of just an ongoing project, working with these kids and being part of their lives and seeing them do things that are going to set them up to succeed. And I love it. It's really I have the best job in the world. Honestly, I really do. And I just am grateful that this worked because it was so much fun for us, but also because I think it did things for my kids, for our school, and for our community that are going to be impactful for a really long time. And I feel like we all live this together, and so I'm really grateful and pleased for everybody, all the people here in Santaquin, the people in Payson, the people at Payson High that were with us and that pulled it together and made it happen. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can I just add one thing real quick? As amazing as this was, none of it would have happened without you.
Yeah.
Because I saw the plan and it was good.
Thanks,
so
Travis.
This is on you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
I'll stand over here.
Steve, you need to come up. If I'm in this picture, you got to be there. Come on. So those of you that don't know, Steve is the mayor of Goshen. So, all right, 1, 2. You only take us 1 or 2. So.
2 that time. So.
I still have it in an email.
I go to enough city councils, I don't want to.
Oh yeah, but we pay people. Not much.
Candy.
Oh, that was good. Nothing further. We'll go on to the building permit and business license report.
Yeah, Norm's got that up there. As you can see, we're a little bit behind where we were this time last year, calendar year that is. We're up to 27 right now. This time last year we were up to 53. So we'll see how that picks up with the weather getting warmer and hopefully market conditions can be conducive to keeping that at an acceptable rate. Fiscal year wise, we're about where we were this time last fiscal year, so just 4 under where we were this time last year. For businesses, we have 4 new businesses. I don't think I need to go through each individual one, but for the business licenses and building permits, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, we'll move on. Fred, what we'd like to do is discuss possible action of the annexation petition that you had offered. Now, there are a couple of comments that we'll make as you go forward, and so if you'd like to step up. And Jason, do you want to introduce it or just leave it to Fred? And
I mean, I'll just give a quick introduction. This is a on the agenda tonight is the possible acceptance of an annexation petition. So in no ways is this consideration of the annexation proposal itself. This is just the petition and whether or not the council would accept the petition and further consider the annexation. So that's essentially what's here tonight, and obviously I can let the applicant speak for what their plans are with that. But for purposes of tonight's action item, it's just the acceptance of a petition, which in no ways indicates whether you're going to accept it or not accept it or that. So that's really what's here for your consideration tonight.
Okay, I'll go when you're ready, Mayor.
go ahead.
Alrighty. What we're doing is we're asking to annex in an apple block that we have down on the northwest end of town. It's about an 8-acre Honeycrisp apple block. And with my father's passing and with his estate getting leveled out, the compound in the center of town that we've been using to kind of house our equipment, all of our packing, and running a small little the building there for our cardboard storage and all that, we're going to move all that down onto the orchard block. And in doing so, my son and myself would like to have a house down in that area and then sell our property here in the center of town. And as you can see, what we're looking to propose to do is first a building lot for my son and myself, and then 2 additional family lots. One would be for my daughter, who's wanting to get back to Nebo School District as a school counselor, and she'd like to be in the area. And then the other family lot is just in case Mom doesn't like where she's living in the assisted living, and we got to put a house up and down there in that area for her to have her close by. So we want a family lot kind of close there also. The reason why we're asking to be petitioned is I can give a building lot to my son and I can make it fit without having it hit capital gains. If I stay with the county and I go with their 5-acre blocks, he'd have a severe issue hitting him with capital gains and a real problem financially of even having the house be able to be on that property. And so we're looking to come into the city for that reason. I understand there's no utilities, there's nothing down there at that point because it's on the other side of Union Pacific, and crossing Union Pacific's always fun. It's always time consuming, even. So we do have a well down there. I have not gone forward on petitioning the engineer's office to change the use of the well until I'm told that I'm good to go here. Then I would then petition to have that use changed on that well. I understand we'd have to put our own septic system in at that time until services are provided. I have Summit Creek shares. I understand that there'll be that requirement once services are provided down there, and then I would exchange those shares just as the city policy would state. Any other questions?
What's the reality of even ever being able to cross the railroad? I mean, those folks are worse than Forest Service.
Oh, you can. The reality is just continually. I mean, it took us almost 11 months to have power put across the railroad, and it's just time, and it's just continually kicking the ball down the road the next time, But and I think you had to cross to get down to your city shed, didn't you? When you went down into the city sheds, didn't you have to put services down under the railroad?
Utilities, yes.
Yeah. So it's doable. It's just
okay.
And then my neighbor next to me, Pines, and that's my connecting tissue. They're R10. Okay, that's what they're zoned in as. That's why we're requesting an R10 zone. And it's we're not wanting to give up a ton of orchard ground. We're just wanting to be able to place our homes in there. There is frontage. There is a county road that's recognized. I finally got that fixed. That took almost 3 years, said that we owned half of the county road, and the county road owned the width of the county road in our apple block. And you'd think that would be an easy fix, but it's just, it's just what it is, and you just continue to push forward.
That's why I worried about the railroad.
Yeah. So
There's a lot of unknowns, and the action that we need to take tonight is, do we want to entertain this? And before you would spend a lot of money getting into it, we'd want to make sure that if the approval is that we go forward with this annexation, because it's just the petition.
I understand
that we go through all those exercises to make sure you're not going to get hung with either some things that you don't understand or that took us all by surprise as we get going. Access, railroad, anything that's in there that even though we know still what's going to bite us.
What would be the things that, I understand the water would have to be something that, it could end up, worst case scenario is I'm working with the state engineer and I'm putting a petition to change the water, and if that well won't pass the water test, then I'm drilling a new well. I understand that component to get tested. I don't understand really what else could be the hiccups, because it's down. You've got county road that you would be then taking, so it'd be access. You have neighboring ground, so I've got neighboring ground already.
Yeah, the only thing that I'm thinking about, and
okay, help me. I'm trying to understand, so I'm seeking to understand too.
Yeah, it's access to public street all the way down through. I don't know if that out in front of Pines is a dedicated county road.
It's Santaquin City. That road in front of Pines is
in front of Pines.
It's Santaquin City
on the north side of the railroad tracks.
That's Santaquin City. That got annexed in with Pines ground, from my understanding. Now, am I wrong, Norm? Because I could be wrong.
So
it's talking about the Chuck Hole Road. Is it Santaquin City or not?
Chuck Hole Road. That's all
drive
of
it.
them.
Yeah, drive it. You understand what I mean?
So historically, when a parcel of ground is annexed into the city, the expectation from the county is that is a city road. I can tell you that we've not maintained it. I'm not sure we even push snow on it.
I've seen that's off and on. There's been times where county pushes, and there's times I've seen city push it.
Right. So I guess what I'm saying is that I'm not sure that it's a fully recognized city road. That's what I'm trying to get at, is that
I understand that.
There is a theory with the county that I'm not sure it's even law, but there is an anticipation that when something gets annexed in, like what you're saying here, is that it would then become a city road. But if it's not fee title, if it's not other things, then it may or may not be. That's something we probably would need to look into.
And it would be from the track to the turn there. What we'd be looking into for the county road. I wouldn't care if it goes all the way down to the canal, because I'm turning right at that intersection there.
So I see the two also county parcels there that go east-west through or just to the north of the block. I'm going to pull this up.
Yeah, pull it up so I can see what you're talking. So then I have a. Okay.
So there's two county parcels, one here and one there. I don't know if those are. What's that?
That's the road.
Right. I don't know if those are contiguous. Right now there's a gap in that, but that's something that would have to be.
That's part of that whole. Okay, so the gap, if you go down.
That's Pine.
There's your gap. That gap needs to be there. It's not mine, but when the county. See, I had this. This was saying I owned all this, which I shouldn't have owned. And they said they owned this, which they shouldn't own. And how that confusion happened is when they built that road and they shut down the train track area down here.
Yeah.
They built a turnaround down by the track. So I got this finally cleared, but this still isn't cleared. So this is something we got to work on, and I'll have to get that surveyed and get that connected back up in there and have the county get that.
So understood on that. I'm just pointing things out on the map. But one thing I don't know is I'm not sure that a county road services as frontage for a subdivision like you're talking about. It would likely need to be a fully improved city road to be able to qualify for a subdivision.
I'm just that road.
I'm just
Okay, I understand.
I don't know. I'm just
what
asking.
I'd ask is that you drive that road. That has the best landing strip down there of anywhere. It's a solid road. It's not like the road that you're worried about. I can understand the concern crossing on the tracks on that by Pines.
What I would also say is that these are all things that will be worked through as we go through.
And all I'm doing is trying to kick the ball down to the next thing that I've got to do to keep moving the project forward.
And this tonight is not an approval of,
I know.
oh yeah, you can go ahead. This is, hey, let's see if we can move this to the next level.
I understand that.
Yeah.
So all I was trying to do was just answer questions.
I understand.
Can you define how many homes is a subdivision?
When you subdivide a lot, you take one parcel and make more than one parcel out of it. That is a subdivision in Santaquin City.
I just split my 1 acre lot and made 2 lots, and I made a subdivision.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the neighbors were concerned about me putting 8-story condos in there,
Again?
Well, why? I mean,
Hey, Mayor, just maybe to help with this conversation. So this property is contiguous to the city. It has gone through the annexation process with the county and that sort of a thing. This is currently in the the city's annexation policy plan, and so there's a number of things there that I think would show that it's something that could be looked at. But obviously, as we dig into this and as we coordinate with Mr. Openshaw, there's going to be some things that we'll need to have a little bit clearer understanding and really understand all the hurdles that could be there for this to be developed into 3 or 4 lots.
So as he moves forward, will we be able to give him a list of those things, even as before we get invested into spending money, time, or other?
The answer is no. He's got to start going through the process so that we can get it through our process to find out what all those things are. There's no easy answer to say, do these 3 things and you're ready to go. It just is a matter of going through the process. That's why we have a process and why we do what we do, is because we don't have all those answers and we won't know until step 4 all the things that you need to do. That's just is the way that the process works.
I understand that, Norm.
The other thing,
question would be, though,
go ahead,
is if we go through those processes and we get everything answered, then is there a chance then that even though everything's answered and it's answered favorably, it could still be no?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So just so you're aware, this is
the full plan.
This is a legislative process, and it is up to the council, not up to staff. There isn't 14 checklist items that you can check and then you qualify to be annexed. It literally is a legislative process. We're trying to help the council kind of ask the questions that they have, but there's going to be more questions as we go along. One thing that is a matter of a formality, if I look at this correctly, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but right now you're showing only annexing in your parcel. Without annexing in the county road, that county road is not ours, it stays a county road, and therefore you may not have the frontage. So that may be a discrepancy where you may need to add that county road as part of the annexation. Again, I'm just speculating because I don't know. I'm just going off of what we're seeing here in front of us. So
a
the other
comment like that, would I get feedback then to know that that's something I got to
Sure, we'll help you.
As long as I can get feedback and know where I got to go next.
So
I understand. That it's a legislative process. I understand that. I just kind of got to know what my next move is and how I keep moving it.
So the other thing that I would point out for the council side of things is, should this county road be included in the annexation process, then you need to consider whether you're willing to take on, if that's a responsibility the county's going to say to us, that's now your road. Because I can tell you that we've done other roads in the city that we didn't want to take on, that we now have responsibility for according to the county. Again, I'm not sure the legalities of it and all the way that works. That's probably something we can work with Brett, our legal counsel. But just, again, that's got to be part of your consideration of, are you willing to take on whatever it is that is being passed on or expected by the county?
Jason, can I ask you a question about, I know in situations similar to this, there's like a deferral for like the improvements along, when you subdivide improvements like sidewalk. I'm assuming the Pines property, I mean, I don't think there's anything there. Would this typically be, is this similar to a situation where we do a deferral for the development of
So the
Of
short
like curb and
answer
gutter.
to that is the council can consider any agreement with any property owner that they would like. Deferral agreements that we generally do are more for properties that are in the core area of town where there's not stormwater infrastructure. Now this, I don't think will technically be in the core area of town, but it's obviously got some infrastructure and utility hurdles that it would need to have. Now, the purpose why we usually do deferral agreements is because stormwater systems don't work on an island. They need to be connected in part of a bigger system. And so that's why we do those deferral agreements is instead of having islands of stormwater infrastructure, we want to do it more comprehensively so that it's a system that works. This is next to a more improved neighborhood. So I don't know if it fits in that category, but like I say, those deferral agreements are agreements and it's the discretion of the city council if they want to enter into something like that. But it's probably not for the same logic for the deferral agreements that we do in the core area of town.
Okay. Yeah.
And can I also add, we're not opposed to this as staff. We're indifferent.
I'm not feeling threatened at all.
We're
Okay, I
indifferent
think-
to it.
I
We're just
understand.
here.
We're just asking questions. And going
We're
through it.
here to facilitate your application, and the council can consider it. Should they consider it, and should you then consider moving forward with giving us some plans to start looking at, we're happy to help you through that process, and we do that all the time. We have meetings with
Well,
developers,
Your
and
staff's been helpful.
yeah,
already.
yeah,
Norm?
and we'll continue to do the same.
If he annexes in part of that road, does that mean that the city would maintain part of it and the county would maintain the other part?
I'd have to probably go with that.
So theoretically, if the road is annexed, the county would expect that we would take care of that. Again, I don't know the legalities of it.
The whole thing?
Again, I don't know
All the way over to 420 West?
So
The answer to that is that would need to be something
Right.
clarified through this annexation process. Is
Oh, is
who's
it?
taking
Okay.
on what
Okay.
responsibility and maintenance thereof.
Right.
Otherwise,
what I'm
Simple
hearing
and easy.
What I'm hearing Fred say is that you're considering that property, at least to the directly north of yours, could be part of that annexation. But remembering also, if we zoom in here a little
connecting that
bit,
little
this
spot.
is already in the city, so we already
yeah,
have.
that's-
Yeah, you
once
already
hit
own part of the road.
Okay.
once you hit this eastern terminus of the
Once you
property,
hit the gap right there.
right here, that's already is what it is. It's already in the city.
I could just see real problems trying to share a road with the
No,
county.
it's already through Pines. It's
Yeah,
already
okay.
city.
So
Okay.
to be clear and to clarify something, then the city does not own that road. It's
Right.
in our jurisdiction,
Exactly.
but
Exactly.
that parcel is owned by Utah County, and so there's a lot of logistics here that
That
would
we'd
need
wanna
to
work
be
out.
Okay.
clarified.
Right.
I think something too that will be helpful to you is they're separating the annexation of this property and responsibility of jurisdiction lines, and then the subdivision process. With our subdivision process, there are standards that need to be met,
Right.
like improved roads, improved infrastructure. That's where maybe the question comes in for a deferral agreement. But the annexation is not going to necessarily answer those questions about infrastructure. It's going to be the subdivision process, but they can't consider or propose a subdivision process until they're
Can't
annexed.
kick that one around.
One step at a
So
time.
I think that's a
That'll
good
be a fun one.
clarification and a good understanding for Mr. Openshaw is he may want to look at the subdivision process, and those are going to be the standards to which they would be held for any sort of a subdivision. Utilities, infrastructure. Now, utilities is there's different options and things there that can get around the standard utilities that we have, like a septic tank or other water options that they would have. But that's a separate process, but it is something that's good to look at in the future to understand how the subdivision would happen and work before an annexation is considered.
If that becomes city property, would the health department allow a septic tank?
Yes, they will.
Yeah, we have
Okay.
we have
On
septic
non-service. on
Yeah, we have
Okay,
septic
so-
tanks right
So
now.
to be clear, we don't regulate that. That's up to him and his application with the county and the health
county
department.
health department. That's how I
for
asked the
them to
question.
take care of that. We believe that it's feasible, and I believe Fred probably believes it's feasible, but that's not up to us. That's
Okay.
outside of our realm,
That's another-
and that's up to the county health department.
We already have an approval from the county for a septic tank in that property.
Okay.
So
Right,
we
but-
already have residents that are on septic tank that
Okay,
aren't
great.
connected to the cities.
Yeah.
Right.
Guard that carefully.
Keep it. Frame it. Put it in a safety deposit box.
Well, there's a reason.
Good to know. Good
You
to know.
have to still meet all the state.
Exactly. I'm not.
On the south
I'm not
side,
here asking.
yes.
I'm just presenting and then trying to go. Okay, what's my next move now? Okay, and the reason behind it. We want to keep farming, And back to the discussion earlier, I mean, our farm, Fred, after he finished his master's at Utah State, wanted to farm. He's full-time farming. After I retired as a principal, I'm free labor for Fred to full-time farm.
That's no different than you.
That's
and your
kind of
dad.
the
No,
turning
it's just
of the
my
tables,
turn.
right?
It's just my turn, right?
Did you hear that free part?
And
the whole process why we're doing this is to ensure that the ground
stays green, stays farming.
Yeah.
as farm ground for our family.
Okay. Good.
I don't have any desire to put thousands of homes in there. I have a desire to put a few homes along with our cold storage unit with the apples and our, where we're going to pack out with our peaches and apples in that area. I understand there's going to be steps I'm going to go through, and it's going to take money on each one of the steps. It's just the way it is. As long as I can have help through the process, that's all I'm asking. And I hope to answer any questions you have and jump what I need to do. If I need to go hound the county, we can do that. Okay, it's just this is our first step in this process,
right?
Instead of just going out with 5-acre lots. And as I was talking with the county to rezone in that, I'm sorry, this seemed like a better route. Rezoning with the county seemed like a lot more hurdles. I don't mean to be mean, but it just seemed like a lot more hurdles.
Well,
and I would like to have my ground in the city.
And if I may, I think a good way to sum this up is utility and those things that all can be done with enough money to make it happen. To me, what this seems like is being in the city and having city zoning is more advantageous for them to get the number of lots they want for their family than it is in Utah County. Utah County was not going to give enough density for them to get the number of homes. So that's really what this annexation comes down to. Is there's a lot of things there that can happen, maybe some challenging things that can happen, but really what
you're speaking right.
If I'm wrong. But it seems like they're proposing this to get a little bit more density than what they would be able to get in unincorporated Utah County.
And for the long term of being able to have my son farm down the long term, the capital gains, if I was to give him 5 acres, that capital gains would be it would almost put him out of business to be able to cover that from when that was last evaluated to now. Okay, and it's just a way to get around that, because you can the amount of a cost of a building lot, and you can improve those building lots, fits within that to be able to make them survive. The only other thing I would like to ask, if possible, if you guys would be okay with this, is that there's times where I'm going to be down south in St. George. I've got another house down there, and I have a church calling down there that I work with, and there might be times where you're going to request input from us on the process, or it could be in that point where we're coming before the city council. Are you okay if I tell you that Fred and Lori can speak for us also? Is there something I need to sign? Is there something you need documentation for?
I think he's the applicant, isn't he? Or are you the applicant?
I own the ground.
Yeah, so we would go off of whomever the applicant is. If we need to put him on the application, that's certainly something that we can work on.
Okay, but I'm the ground owner, so I just want to make sure that on those times we keep moving this, because I know I'm not expecting this is going to be done tomorrow. I'm not expecting this is going to be done. I'd be surprised if it's done in a year. Okay, so we're just going to keep moving this down and doing the next thing that we have to meet the requirements.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Fred or the rest of the family?
Just a real simple question. Is that road paved?
Oh, yes. Oh, that's the best road down there around. Yeah. Now, the one right before it that you turn off of is not, but once you hit that one, the east to west road, that's a nice road. That's a solid road.
Okay. Any other questions? Just one statement. It seems like when the Openshaw family comes in here, they sit in the same seats in the same row.
Did I take Mark's place?
It's like
No,
church.
you took Carolyn's.
Oh, Carolyn's. Okay, I'm good taking Carolyn's. I don't want Mark's place. Mark has his own place.
Okay, this is an approval to the petition for annexation. I'm not sure, do we need to take a vote or just a single?
This is a discussion of possible action, so this is
Okay.
Acceptance.
I'll make a
acceptance
motion.
of the
You wanna
petition.
make a
Not
motion?
approval of anything, just acceptance.
Yep. I make a motion to accept that petition.
I'll second it. Moved and seconded. Travis?
Aye.
Lynn?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Art?
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
So we're
Thank you for moving it to the next step. Now
kicking it down the
we'll get
road.
with the city and we'll go through and we're gonna follow as we continue forward here. We'll do what you need us to do, but I think we'll also look at the subdivision requirements at the same time. So as I'm getting surveying work done, I'm not sending them out 3 and 4 times if I need to do that. All the other things we're jumping. Okay.
Great.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
If you don't mind, I don't really want to stay for the whole council. Are you okay if we leave?
Oh, we require that. No.
Okay, I'll sit.
We'll rescind it now.
Yeah, but it's about a $300 deposit per council member. It's crazy.
Whoa.
It'd almost be worth my time.
You're good to go.
Thank you.
Gets you in all kinds of trouble.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, leave those off. That was a joke. Sheesh.
We do a $49 deposit.
Yeah, that's exactly $49.99.
Okay. We need to talk about the discussion and possible action on the award of the architectural contract for WPA Architects.
Yeah, so Mayor and Council, we talked about this in the work session. We have our city engineer, John Lindell, here that gets all the hard questions. I get all the easy ones. And then we're happy to answer any questions. This is just architectural and engineering services for the 2 buildings that we have in our Parks and Recreation Master Plan. And the lot by the cemetery where we're going to put a storage and Public Works Parks building, and then also the recreation building that would be to the south and behind the existing recreation building. Happy to answer any questions or anything of that nature.
As I went through the material that we were furnished, I don't have the names. I just have the numbers. Number 2 is 92,000. Number 3 was 78,000. That's a significant less amount of money, and it seemed like most of their credentials or criteria or whatever you want to call it, qualifications were within tolerance. You want to correct me on that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So as say staff, there was 5 of us that. Sorry, there's 5 of us that staff that reviewed the submittals that we received for this. As we were looking at them at part of the request that they provide, part of the RFP that we requested from them was to give us similar projects that they had done.
That was all broken down in the part we were given.
Down as part of those. A lot of them, the scoring that was shown on the rubric that was provided is an average score of all the ratings that were provided by the staff. And so when you see those, the relevant experience, when you average them out, it doesn't give a huge, big old wide spread because, with averages, it does that. And so, but the relevant experience, as you can see on that rubric, was a weighted portion of it. The amount for the cost for it was the highest points required on there. I believe it was 35 points, and then it was 25 points was the next highest with experience. And so even though that some of their proposal costs were a little bit less based on the ratings of the individual projects that they proposed by the review committee, that's where that was balanced out. So it is a qualifications-based request, an RFP, instead of just strictly a cost-based biggest portion of it. And so, cost did weigh a good portion of that, but experience was also a part of that decision making.
Okay, I just it being us close to budget time and money's tight, and there's a lot of things we want to accomplish. I was just trying to make sure that we were getting the best results for our money, but not overpaying for what we want to have.
Yeah, understand. Norm mentioned a little bit in the work session as we kind of looked at that. There's again the architects that some of the submittals we ranged from everything that they submitted were multi-million-dollar recreation buildings, which there's a whole lot different that goes into those versus a pole frame building that we're planning on these. So that kind of weighed into the relevant experience. on some of those, again, you can see some of the costs associated with those as they got a little bit further down. But it was a qualifications-based request for proposals with an element of budget included in there.
Okay. And this is more of a budget question. This is coming from park impact fees. How much is this deleting those funds?
So this will work within the existing budget that we have. What I did mention is, I think Brian asked the question earlier in the work session,
Yeah.
is we may need to adjust our current, I want to say we have $250,000 from the last budget amendment, that was the second budget amendment that we did, where we reallocated some funds from the Prospector View Park, Bike Skills Park, to this project. So we're within that budget, but we may have to amend again once we get this done and we figure out how much the cost of the building is once we get to that point. But this is a step that we can't sidestep. This is a building code and a city code,
Yeah.
architectural and engineering requirement that we have.
Okay.
And one thing to add is that the end result of this is going to be plans that we can build the buildings out of.
Right.
Now, how we build those will be determined by what our budgets are. So if we can, an example on the recreation building over here by the cemetery, the first phase may be just doing some site improvements, getting a fence, and getting the building put up. So the parks crews have a place to store their equipment.
Right.
That may be the first phase, in which we get that built, and then as we go through, we get budget allocated. Have those funds, we can make these improvements. We have the plans already. It's just a matter of when we have the funds to be able to put towards doing those.
Yeah, I was just hoping not to spend all of our park impact fees in one spot.
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
And John, if I may, I think something that's added to this, that there was a lot of those companies, and being part of that panel, there was a lot of companies that they would give you the plans and then they were out. There was other ones that they would give you the plans and they'd still be around to help with a little bit of quality control with the contractor. So I know that was something that I looked at it that I thought was important to have that extra presence to make sure that the plans are being followed accordingly.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? You feel like we're ready to make a recommendation? I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the contract for architectural services to WPA Architects.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Ryan?
Aye.
Art?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Lynn?
Aye.
Travis?
Aye.
Motion passed. Thanks, John. Appreciate it. We'll move on to the water dedication policy update.
Is it that or is it the handbook?
I think it's the number
handbook.
8 resolution.
Oh, yeah, for the handbook.
Yeah, Jason will take that one there.
Yeah, Mayor and Council, so this is a proposed amendment to the Employee Policy and Procedure Handbook. This is specifically related to the fire department. There's just a couple changes in that are a part of this. One of those changes is really kind of a formality of something that was put into effect or something that the practice has started, and that is related to fire department employees' holiday. So basically, if a fire department employee works on a holiday, then they get paid for that holiday as overtime. It's a little bit different for police, and then obviously it's a little bit different for other full-time employees in the city. So that's something that I think was done, and it's just we needed to get it in our employee handbook and have that formally there. The change really that is bringing this forward is a proposal by Chief Lynn to basically articulate the number of hours needed from a fire employee before they can start building overtime or receiving overtime pay. So this is something that Chief Lynn is proposing, and something he says is really kind of standard among many other fire departments. And yeah, it's here for your consideration.
Are there any questions?
No, I talked to the chief about this, and I guess that, like was just mentioned, he's the one that's responsible for bringing this to us, and he's definitely in favor of it.
It really is something that's going to help Chief Lynn manage the hours within his
Right.
department. So,
So I would ask, is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion for amending. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Travis?
Aye.
Lynn?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Art?
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
Motion passed. Now we get to go to the water dedication policy. And this is an update to this ordinance. Something that we've needed to do. I have a heartache with some of these when they show up, and I think I voiced myself earlier pretty loudly, you know, mainly because in the past we have got shares from places, and this, I think, gets us on the right track to where we can start managing these kind of things a whole lot better. And so with that, John?
Yep. So, as Mayor mentioned, this is an update to our current water dedication requirement. Again, the current water dedication requirement allows for up to 100% money in lieu of dedication. This was done back in 2019 to allow us to be able to get a fund generated to help pay for the Central Utah project water that we discussed a little bit in the work session. We've got a balance built up that feel comfortable with, and it's a real feel that we can roll forward and go back to requiring, modifying that requirement to where we'd have 50% maximum for water dedication and a 50% minimum for, I had that backwards.
Yeah.
50% maximum for water dedication in money in lieu of water dedication, and a 50% minimum for wet water or water rights or water shares. That allows us to continue to build up our profile for water so that we can serve future residents that are coming to town and make sure we have that needed amount. Our water, we have a 40-year plan that was adopted back in 2021 that indicates that we are, once we reach that 40-year horizon, which is 2060, we will need more water rights in the city to be able to provide for those future residents. And so that's both culinary water and for our secondary or pressurized irrigation system.
Okay. Any questions that you have on this?
Did the money in lieu of water rights, did we change that?
That's what we're proposing.
That's what we're proposing to change.
Right,
no,
right.
the dollar amount.
Well,
I think because at the beginning, I didn't. I guess when I read through it earlier, I didn't realize. What was it? $5,500.
That's correct.
Yes.
Is that changing at all, or
It is not. That actually appears on our fee schedule, and that typically has a COLA type change
Okay.
yearly, but it's not changing with this.
So
This
that's
is just
already looked at.
That
in other
will be
processes.
looked at
Okay.
as we continue to move forward. I think we made, I want to say 3 or 4 years ago, we started out at $4,750 and we're $5,500. So on the regular, whether it's yearly or a little bit more, a little bit less, we make adjustments to that.
That was my only question. I was just wondering why we didn't look at that, but I realize it's part of our fee schedule changes. So,
Okay. Any other questions? Entertain a motion to move forward with this.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion we adopt ordinance number 21/2025, an ordinance amending Santaquin City Code 840-100 related to water dedication requirements, providing for codification, correction of Scrivener's errors, severability, and an effective date for the ordinance.
Had a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
And seconded. Brian?
aye.
Art?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Lynn?
Aye.
Travis?
Aye.
Motion passed. Let's move on to the ordinance for the setbacks, 0202. Jason, are you going to present that?
yeah. So this ordinance looks huge. It feels huge because it's basically something that's affecting every zone in the city. So each individual zone is in there. But essentially what this is And I want to give a lot of credit to Ryan Harris and Aspen Stevenson, who are our planners. They've worked a good long month on this one, and essentially, as they are working with our code, they've identified some discrepancies where there's some setbacks that are missing or setbacks that aren't quite matching, and it's mostly with the setbacks in each zone as compared with landscaping, our landscaping code and the setbacks indicated into there. So they really wanted to fix those, but while they were at it, what they've tried to do is really help organize our setback requirements a little bit better. They've made these tables that are a little bit easier to follow, and there's really not much that's substantive in the changes here. It's really a lot of formatting. Where the substantive changes come is fixing some of those discrepancies with some of the landscaping setbacks as it relates to the building setbacks. And that's pretty much it. Oh, there was also down at the bottom in the landscaping code, they really point to the individual zones for the landscaping requirement, meaning like the percentage of landscaping that's required in the project. And so there was a few zones that didn't even have a percentage of landscaping required for like multifamily projects. So they've basically just got a percentage chart down there that's kind of an umbrella for all the zones that have multifamily projects and it's specific to the Main Street Business District zone. So there's a lot there. I was not planning to go through every detail. I think a lot of it's pretty repetitive because it's the same thing in each zone. So I won't say much more than that, except that if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer it.
Any corrections that you saw in there? I'm just hoping that we're getting these things easier and easier to work with.
Yeah.
That's the important thing.
I liked the redesign. It did make it a lot easier.
The
I was like, for me being such a novice,
And I apologize. I usually forget, and maybe Councilmember Sidaway can speak to this, but this did go through the legislative process. It did go to the Planning Commission, had a public hearing. The Planning Commission did recommend that this gets approval, and so there's that recommendation for you to consider.
So no other questions. I would entertain a motion to accept the ordinance 0202-2025.
So moved.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. Lynn?
Aye.
Travis?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Art?
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
Thank you. Let's move on to the 203, the ordinance for the moderate income housing plan, those changes that were put in there. Now, these are really are some of our answers to the state requirements that we're coming up on.
It's exactly what it is. So this will probably become an annual thing, at least for the time being, because of the state requirements for moderate income housing. Sometimes these strategies can be something that take 2 or 3 years to accomplish, and as long as we're making progress, then that's acceptable. But some of the things that we've been doing lately, we're able to do pretty easily, and so it works for 1 year for our reporting purposes, and then we need to find another strategy or amend that strategy to qualify for the next reporting year. So with that said, this is the proposed general plan amendment related to those strategies for moderate income housing. And maybe the way to break this down, let me first start off and say that this also went through the process with the Planning Commission. They had a public hearing on it. They looked at it. Their recommendation was to do option 1 of strategy 1, which I'll explain that in a bit. There's 4 options that we provided for you to choose from. They chose option 1, and then they chose options 2 through 5 as drafted. If you were to look at this in your preparation for the meeting, there is a strategy 6. We're not necessarily proposing that be implemented in this. We just wanted to have that there because of some ideas that we've had that could be used now or at some point in the future. But Planning Commission's recommendation was to go with 2 through 5 as drafted, and then option 1 in strategy 1. So just quickly describe what those are. So, and I think I know where this would go based on individual conversations I had with council members. Strategy 1, option 1 would be allowing detached accessory dwelling units in the R15 zone. Option 2 of strategy 1 would be modifying setback requirements for detached accessory dwelling units. This is something that came about when we had the open house last year. There was a number of residents that said, we would love to do this, but the setbacks are too big for us to really make it work. And so there was feedback that if the setbacks were lessened, then it's something that would help them be able to implement a detached ADU. Okay, option 2. Option 3 of strategy 1 still, because this all falls under the same strategy E, which is to create or allow for and reduce regulations related to internal or detached accessory dwelling units in residential zones. Option 3 would be basically another open house. The reason why we would suggest this or think this is a good thing to do is because we had an open house, we had a great turnout, we were able to answer a lot of questions, and still to this day, with the zones that we've allowed a detached accessory dwelling unit to be built in, we have not had one built yet. So the thought was, instead of expanding it into another zone, maybe keep trying to educate the public and help them navigate constructing them. But anyways, that's the option. Option 4 would be, and this is a unique creative idea I think that another city was able to do and got credit for, but basically they would consider a detached accessory dwelling unit in like a special use permit process. What that means is if there's a particular zone that doesn't allow for detached accessory dwelling units, this special use permit process could allow it on kind of a case-by-case basis. Now, frankly, that kind of goes against a lot of planning practices because it's kind of like a spot zone, if you will, which then kind of makes things a little confusing. But I guess in the name of moderate income housing and trying to meet these requirements, that could be a consideration. That one's a little bit, maybe could be fleshed out, but it is something that Ryan noticed that another city did and could be something considered. So those are your 4 options for strategy 1. And I will see if you want me to go through strategies 2 through 5. They're all out there. And would you like me to do that?
If you've had a chance to read them, or if you have questions on those, I hope we've all had a chance to read those. Do we want to go through those, or do you feel comfortable with where we're at?
I've been through them.
So if you've been through them, all we're doing is rehashing.
Yeah, a lot of them are going to be very consistent with what we've done in past years, like impact fees for the latest master plan update. There's one that's reducing minimum square footage requirements in the Main Street Business District Zone. We did that for MSR last year. We're doing it for MSC this year, so on and so forth. So, like I say, I do want you to be aware of what they are because these are things that are going to be implemented at some point in this year so that we can report these to the state that we are making tangible efforts towards moderate income housing. So
it doesn't mean that they've accepted them though yet.
No. These are our strategies, and we based on previously getting credit for these strategies, we feel good about those. But I think for purposes tonight, and this is consistent with the Planning Commission's recommendation, is of those options I gave you for strategy 1, pick one of those 4 options. And then I would recommend that you approve strategies 2 through 5 as drafted, and then the strategy 6 we'll just keep that on the back burner or keep it in our back pocket for consideration in future years when we want to maybe need more ideas.
Okay, one quick question: if we do approve strategy 1, option 1 tonight, do we have to wait for the state to approve it before we can make that zone change?
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
Oh.
So basically, and that's one that we've changed our zones in the past. Like for instance, we allowed for detached accessory dwelling units in the R10 most recently, and they gave us credit for that. So all this does is establish the strategy in our general plan, and then at some point before August, we need to follow our strategy and draft an ordinance that would allow detached accessory dwelling units in the R15 zone.
I will make a point. Option 1, the residents that have expressed interest in R15 have a timeline that's sooner. So if we did actually want a higher chance of that happening, hopefully, if we approved option 1, that that we make the change sooner rather than later. Just as soon as we possibly could, right?
And we're happy
Just-
to do
yeah.
that.
Okay.
I will just say, and this is kind of like what I said earlier with the previous agenda item, is allowing it in a zone is different than following setbacks and going through a quasi site plan process.
Yeah.
Just because it's allowed in the zone doesn't mean that it
Yeah.
automatically is going to
Oh, yeah.
happen. There's still requirements that are going to need to meet.
Yeah,
We
they
haven't
need-
looked
they
at
need
these
their
individual
permit,
cases to
everything
know
else.
all the potential, challenges that with what they want to do. But
Yeah.
it would
I view
be-
it as kind of like that, like petition for annexation, like
Exactly.
being able to even take it seriously. Then they're not wasting their time or
That's
getting
right, yep.
quotes or Okay. I'll make a if we're done.
Go ahead.
I'll make
Are
a
there
motion.
Any other questions? Yeah, go ahead, Brian.
I'll make a motion to approve the moderate income housing plan with strategy 1 and option 1 and 2 through 5 is listed.
Okay, there's been a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
And seconded, Travis?
Aye.
Lynn?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Art?
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
Okay, motion passed.
And Mayor, I failed to mention, Ryan went through and updated all the numbers in our moderate income housing component
yeah,
or
that's right.
element of the plan. So
Yeah.
if you want to read through that and see some updated numbers of moderate income housing statistics in our area.
Salaries.
Sorry, I failed to mention that. I was so focused on the moderate income strategy. So that's something worth noting as well.
Okay, need to move on. We need to convene to the CDRA for a discussion and possible action on the end bridge.
So moved.
Second.
And seconded, Brian?
Aye.
Art?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Lynn?
Aye.
Travis?
Aye.
Okay, we're now the CDRA. This really has to do with money that we have. It's already budgeted. We're doing an action with this, and we should be ready to move forward.
Yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions. It's pretty straightforward, I believe, and it's to get gas lines to serve the future businesses that are in the Santaquin Peak subdivision.
How far out are they in doing this? Do you know?
I'm not sure of their time frame. As soon as we get the payment, everything processed to them, then they get us on their schedule. Usually, Enbridge, Dominion is pretty responsive. We got a pretty good working relationship with the guy that coordinates that construction, so we could probably get it going fairly quickly.
Yeah, we've only got the one right now that we've got to worry about getting to. I'm not sure they're going to be ready for another month or better. Might even be late spring before we absolutely have to be there, but we should be there before then, I would hope.
Yeah, as soon as we get this payment process and start coordinating with Enbridge as soon as we had this going, as soon as I had this contract approved.
We did discuss this a little bit in the previous meeting. Are there any other questions that you have? Anything you want to ask John about? I appreciate all the work that you've been able to do as you've sorted through so many things with our industrial park, but it's been successful, it's paid for, it's good to go.
Chairman?
Yeah.
Just to reiterate, this is coming out of the funds of the CDRA.
Yes.
Okay.
With that, I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Moved. Is there a second?
A second that.
Seconded? Travis?
Aye.
Lynn?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Art?
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
Motion passed. We're good to go. We'll be able to take care of that and get that paid and underway, right?
Yep, we'll get that processed this week and start coordinating with Enbridge to get that going.
All right.
Thank
you. Appreciate it very much. We're moving ahead for sure. I'd like to leave the CDRA. Can I have a motion to return to the regular council
moved.
meeting?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Brian?
Aye.
Art?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Lynn?
Aye.
Travis?
Aye.
Okay, back in the real meeting. I'd like to go to the report. So, Norm?
You want to have Jason go
Oh,
first or me?
Jason. Yeah.
Yeah.
I looked at you first.
I'm happy to go first, Mayor, whatever you'd like.
I mean, so aside from the obvious things we have the rest of this week, the Chamber Gala, I know Norm will probably talk a little bit about our budget planning session. I don't have much to report. Just quickly, next Tuesday, we anticipate that we have the Morgan subdivision preliminary plan on the DRC agenda. That's really all that we have at this point. And for Planning Commission, again, I give a lot of credit to our planners, Ryan Harris and Aspen Stevenson. They've done a lot of work on that setback table, general plan amendments, and things of that nature. They haven't been working on anything. That was kind of what a lot of their work was gone into, and with no other pending applications, there's a good chance that Planning Commission next Tuesday would be canceled. So aside from the one thing on DRC, that's really what we have upcoming, and aside from that, I don't have anything else to report at this time.
Okay, Norm?
Yeah, Mayor, Council, the last meeting, Councilmember Adcock asked about the potential bull riding event. They have pulled their application and are no longer pursuing that, so it's at this point, that's dead and not happening this year as far as we're aware, pending any other application coming in, but that's not going to happen at this point. I do want to point out also to the council and mayor and the public, the Bill Hoosier Memorial fundraiser event for our police officers is Saturday, starting at 4:30 at the Ponderosa Building at the Spanish Fork Fairgrounds. For the public, this is a privately organized event. This is something that's going through some folks in the community that have put this together to help raise funds to send our police officers and their families to Washington, D.C. during Police Week, which is May 11th through the 17th, I want to say, to be recognized and also to be there for the placement of Sergeant Bill Hoosier's name on the National Fallen Officers Memorial in Washington, D.C. I encourage you to go to that. I know that this is going to be a busy week. We've got Friday night and on most of the day Saturday with our budget planning session meetings. I would encourage you to support that as you can. Main Street project update. They're just still working on utilities on the north side. You may have seen that a portion of the street lights are in now, and they're continuing to work on those as they are able to get those connected. They will continue to do so. But on the west end, again, they're working on all the dry utilities on the outside the curb and gutter. We're probably another 60 days away at least to get them in and start actually doing the road and extending the pipeline, the water pipeline that we approved last year to move that to the west. So CUP, you got the update on it tonight. I do want to thank the folks from CUP coming down from Central Utah Water Conservancy District. As they've indicated, John and I have worked with them extensively over the years. We have two council members here that sit on boards with Mount Nebo and Subwa that help with that effort as well. Central Utah is on one of those boards, and Central Utah Water Conservancy District is our contract partner on the Subwa water for the raw water that they talked about bringing down to us. The anticipation is and has been that we would start testing that system sometime in 2026. I know that they mentioned that it will be done for their side of things, but it will not be connected to our facilities until sometime after they get the whole thing done and tested and ready for us to hook up to. So there will be some additional costs. In fact, in our budget planning session, part of our PI projects that will be coming up will be to look at funding for that connection to the ULS pipeline that we will likely have water in next year to us. I think that's it, unless anybody has any questions on anything else that I missed.
Okay, Travis?
Library is doing their Valentine's fundraiser next week. So if you haven't had a chance to go online and buy your cookies, you have until the 10th. Youth City Council attended the Elected Officials Day at the Capitol on the 22nd.
You got kudos from the Senate and the House.
Payson did?
Uh-huh.
No, you did.
Or
Santaquin
sorry,
did.
I work for
did.
Payson. I'm on Santaquin. Well, that's impressive. I had fallen ill and wasn't able to go, and I got to give a shout out to John Bradley. He stepped up for me and covered for me with like 12 hours notice. And apparently he had way more fun with them than I would have. They actually convinced Representative Welton to come have dinner at their lunch at their table.
Yeah, he told us about it.
So they were, I know my daughters are on Youth City Council, and they were so excited that they got to meet that guy. So good things happening there. I really appreciate, like again, John Bradley and Chelsea Rowley have been a huge help for that. So, and that's all I've got. Oh, one more thing. I brought this up a couple times, but are we going to do anything for Bill Hoosier? Any kind of a memorial
Oh, yeah.
or
Let
anything?
me,
I just
let me
we're running
talk
out
about
of
that
time.
in a minute.
Okay.
Okay?
I just had some ideas that we could probably talk about if we were able to have a discussion about that. So
We did have one last time, but I'll tell you where we are.
okay, great.
And then if I can get some help, we'll see if we can get there. Okay? Anything
Thank
else?
you. That's it. That's all I've got.
Lynn?
Just this water discussion tonight. It's neat that we're going to be able to access a whole bunch more water. I love that. We always ask the question, what are we going to do for water with all the building? And this is going to give us water for a lot of years to come, so it's a good thing. I will not be in town on Monday, so Art's going to attend the water meeting on Monday, so we'll get a report from him on that. But they're doing good things and planning ahead too. Always thinking ahead with all of the new construction we're having, people moving in. We've got to have water in the second driest state in the union. So
Yeah.
I love to see the plans for that, and we'll see where that goes. But that's all I have.
Okay. Jeff?
Well, the legislative session is moving. They haven't had a whole lot of red flags yet. Most of the bills are just going through committees right now. I don't know if they've actually done a lot of voting on overall. If I see anything from ULCT, I'll let you guys know if we need to start texting Doug or any of the senators. But right now, they're doing the best they can to change the language before it gets onto the floor. So they're doing well. Just to double check, the budget meetings we're having Friday and Saturday, they are technically open public meetings.
They are
right?
open public meetings, and they will be noticed that
I've
way.
had one resident ask when it's going to happen because he wants to come in and ask about the walkway by Apple Valley that we had that woman come in and comment on a couple months back. So we might have one visitor. I've only ever seen one there so far, so we might get a second. That'd be nice.
It's okay. Yeah, it's open.
Yep.
And those will be noticed later this week, so in time
When
for
do
the
you
meetings.
do that?
but-
On Thursday or Wednesday?
Tomorrow, Wednesday.
Yeah, 24 hours, but we try to do it more is the requirement legally, but we try to do it more in advance so that people, we haven't posted them yet because we don't want to get it confused with these meetings
Yeah.
tonight. So we'll post tomorrow and we should be good that way. But yes, both of those are open public meetings. Friday night is from 5 to 10 p.m.
Yep.
And Saturday is from 8 a.m. until approximately 4 p.m.
Yeah, that's what I told him. He was looking at
5 o'clock,
Friday.
yes. Thank you for that clarification. 5 p.m. on the dot on Friday evening.
Yep. Okay, that's all I had.
Okay, Art?
The DRC had a meeting on January the 28th about Amsource Santaquin subdivision with 6 lots. I noticed one of them doesn't quite meet the frontage, but is that one of those exception things?
No, that agenda item was tabled. There's always red lines, and that's partly why it was tabled. So that may be one of the things that was tabled is, and I can't remember if that was a red line or not.
I believe it was.
It was lot number 3, and I was wondering if maybe the people applying would consider making lot 4 a little smaller because it's already 8/10 of an acre.
That was our recommendation to them.
Okay. Good. I noticed on the Bills wrap tax, the wood chips at Centennial Park, I thought the trend was to get away from wood chips and go to rubber chips. Is that not a trend? Is that not what we want to do?
I'm not rubber not rubber chips. The full poured surface is where we're going on new stuff, but my understanding is not that we're moving away from wood chips. The wood chips will stay, and as we're able to transition and build new facilities, that will be the rubberized surface, not chips.
Okay. So I don't forget, I need access to the EOC room on Tuesday the 11th for a ham radio meeting. Somebody make sure the room's open
time?
for that.
What time?
7 p.m. on February the 11th, Tuesday. So a week from today, right?
Yep.
Yes.
I had a citizen contact me today, interested in purchasing some property, possibly to put a business on for indoor recreation, batting cages, indoor football practice, soccer practice on turf grass, kind of plastic grass. And so the mayor is also working with someone else, and we're going to try to see if we can align those together or do something to help one of them.
He just commented to me, would like to meet with him.
Okay.
I'll give you that phone number afterwards if you want to get back with these guys.
Okay.
And they can open up.
Perfect. It's interestingly might be called Guffich Grounds, who Guffich was the father of Chief Santaquin that saved the settlers way back, even before me.
Man, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, I know, it was a long time ago. I think my other concerns will be brought up later. Thank you.
Okay.
Brian? Oh, no. I spent a couple hours with Public Works this past week, not this week, last week, as they went around distributing late notices. That's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work, yes, sir.
And there's a lot of them.
Yes,
I
sir.
was really disappointed, is the best word I can use, that there were so many.
What do you mean by late notices?
If your water bill is late, you get a late notice. You have
Hand
seven.
delivered.
You have hand delivered. You have 7 to 10 days to respond and make it current, or then you get a shut-off notice.
I got one a couple months ago, and we're on auto pay, so there's something else going on.
Like, what are you doing? Trying to stiff the city, huh?
And there's a fees approach attached to each of those.
Significant fees.
Brian?
One, I want to apologize for being late to the meeting. I forget that little legs move a lot slower. And I took my daughters to the museum. I always give a shout out to a lot of employees in the city. And sometimes I think it's skewed a lot towards those who are very resident facing. So I don't want to seem unappreciative of others, but I'm really grateful for the bots and the dedication that they have to the museum. They have a find 10 hearts in each room contest. So
yes.
going on right now. So that was a lot of fun.
Thank you.
My kids loved that. And I'm just reminded of just those interesting ways that they're making it not like a one and done museum. So if in case anyone's tuning in, or in case any of y'all want to go. Also, thanks, Norm. I told Norm, I said I have off work for the next 2 months, so he's got to be worried because I just stop by every day. Took a lot of your time today. But I do want to point out one thing that Norm and I talked about today is I noticed when I was looking up the museum hours, if you type it in Google, what's going to show up is the Google map pin over santaquin.gov in the page. And I know that I think that there's differences in how we find hours by generation and just by habits, just personality. I do think that there's a lot of people that go to Google Maps for hours. And we noticed the Public Works building has open hours, but are we accepting people to those? The museum doesn't have updated hours. And I know that's kind of confusing for residents. I suggested that to Norm, and I don't want to bring this up, but I suggested maybe if we ask Penny, who's also updating the hours on the website when staff is asking, that maybe if we have Penny update or claim ownership of those Google Map pins. I know in the past, even when I typed in Santaquin City Hall, it took me out to Eureka just because there was a glitch, and then it got fixed. Someone must have, I actually think it might have been, credit to me. I submitted an error thing to Google, but a lot of people are new to Santaquin, and I just want to make sure that residents have easy access to find the right information. And I mean, there's always the website, but I think that, I just want to share that with the rest of the council, that I think that it might be something that, we do a lot. We just need to communicate it really well. And I don't think that updating those Google Map pins is going to take a lot of work, but just want to make sure that everyone knew.
And back to the museum, as I drove in, I noticed they've got it framed up to pour concrete on the
yes.
ramp.
south door.
The ramp, the
So,
ADA ramp.
what-
ADA.
and with the new doors, we'll have an ADA to at least the first floor. That's good.
It's a good thing. Anything else?
No, just the Google Map pins. I know I stressed this to Norm, but if everyone else wants to support that too, go ahead and support that.
Okay.
Not forget the chamber gala.
Oh yes,
on Thursday.
Yes. Yeah, text me the info, and I can. I'm pretty sure I can help out. It's this. Yeah, text me.
Okay, I just wanted to report on a couple of things. We've been making a few trips to Capitol Hill, and first time we were able to meet with Senator McKell. We also met a couple of other senators. Spread the good word. We requested that they would continue to work to see if they could help us find some funding to get the library taken care of. We do have the plans back. Plans look very good, and they are available. We ought to print a copy out, so everybody can look.
It's only 87 pages. We're happy.
77.
Oh, 77. I'm sorry. I exaggerated. That's my nature.
That's mine.
Could you email? Could you just email them? I mean,
anyway,
they're 27 megs.
They took us quite serious. They wanted to move forward. More on that in a minute. I'm hoping that you guys have our state rep, and our senators on your Facebook feed. If you saw the other night, Senator McKell got up and he gave a 2-week presentation. Took, 5-10 minutes, something like that. But specifically, he mentioned he has been tasked to work with the south end of Utah County, namely Santaquin. I think he said Santaquin and Spanish Fork. I think that's all he said on the south end. That was McKell. That wasn't me. But he took that assignment very seriously, because first week, Norm and I went out and spent the afternoon, and last week, Jason and I were able to take time and go up. We had a meeting with the Senate President. So those are hard to come by. You usually get about 15, 20 minutes, and you present, you talk, and sometimes they're just touchy-feely meetings where they get to know you a little bit and what are you here for. There was absolutely no question what we were there for, and he expanded the project into looking into other things too, but gave assignments directly to Senator McKell while we were sitting there with him. Very good meeting. They kind of get over with a little quicker than you would think, but these are busy people and they are working very hard. It's good to go up there because I've been able to talk to Senator Owens, to Senator Hinkins, and to Senator McKell. We met Senator McKay and Representative Walton. I met an Owens too. Where was he? Anyway, we've talked. We met with the State Division of Natural Resources, the head thereof, and he's interested in talking with us, meeting with us, and going over a few things. Also have had extra showing on the properties in Pole Canyon that we were looking at, and there's government movement there right now. They found some funding, and that's all I really know. I've talked to our representative out of Texas, and also to the other representatives, and they are moving in another direction to help fund that. So if that works in, it's got some other good possibilities. It's just you don't move the federal government very fast, and now they've got the state involved. So we're going to see how both of these turn out. It was very good. It was good meeting. Yeah, both of those meetings, I appreciate the time that's taken. And just so you all know, tomorrow morning we've been invited to present to the Senate Appropriations Committee. Be doing that at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, 9:05 actually. And
we get 5 minutes.
You get 5 minutes, and there's a big panel of a lot of people, and they're all making decisions on where these monies will go. And this is the committee that we've been directed to present. We did it last year, and we're ready to go again this year. Hopefully, we'll see if we can get some funding to see if we can move forward with the movement of the library.
Okay.
I would tell you it's really positive, and admit it's positive because we're getting a meeting. We're still a long ways from anybody making a decision. But, all of this aside, we're looking at significant amount of money to replace the interchange, and a pretty good amount of money in layman's terms to outfit the library. But both voices are being heard, and we just have good people, and they are working with us hand in hand. So that's been positive. Next time we meet or before, I'll let you know how things are going. I appreciate it, and we'll work that way. On Bill Hoosier's, we discussed that shadow box last time and even where we could put it. One thing that I would like to do is maybe find a local cabinet maker that could make us one. Maybe see if we could get a little better deal, or maybe somebody that would just like to have their hand in it.
Don't we have one out here building a building in our new subdivision?
They're not there yet. That would be a cool way to do it, and if we make those swinging final deals, maybe I'd throw that in so we could get it.
So they purchased the property. They're close.
Well,
so that's something we could certainly. They're not building.
They're
not building yet.
Yeah.
But they still have a facility that they could build something like that in, I'm sure.
They're moving from Genoa.
Why not ask them?
Yeah. You know what? Maybe we ought to
we'll give
bring
it
them in and talk
we'll
to
give
them
it a shot.
about it.
That'd be a good contact.
I like it. Yeah, okay. We'll push it.
What about placement?
We talked about just right outside by the main door as you come in on the right.
Okay.
And we still need to meet with the family. We need to make sure that we're comfortable with the dimensions of it, kind of what we expect, but also what Kendall would like to have in there. And, I think it's got to be done in taste. Jason has a great picture.
Yeah, well, and I was going to say, so I've been working closely with Chief Hurst. This is a little bit more on the down low. I know we're
in a public meeting.
We're in a public meeting right now. I know.
Just whisper.
He's got
Turn your
some
microphone
intentions to try and keep it a little bit more, of a surprise, if you will. But yeah, we've talked about this. There's even potential of somebody with connections to the police department that could maybe make this that would have a little bit more meaning to it. So we're currently looking into that and looking at the options and trying to figure out dimensions and things. And so it's something I'll continue to work with Mayor Olson on. But yeah, for the council's sake, there's certainly a direction there, and with Chief Hurst's feedback is kind of where we got to with this idea.
There was one last thing, and that was brought up last meeting, and that was, what do we want to do with the 10-year photo contest? And I haven't heard anything, and I'm not sure that that's a gold standard that's sitting out in front of us, or what we even want to do with it. I don't know that we have to make a decision tonight. It's certainly something we could look at, but if you guys haven't thought of anything different, we could put it off, maybe make it a discussion in the next month or two. If nothing's made, I guess that decision is made. But if you really feel strong that there's something you want to do with it, then I think that it'd be good to get some input. If
Could
not,
we just put it on the next work session? I mean,
we could.
yeah. Why not? I mean,
You want to do that?
yeah.
All right.
I kind of forgot about it.
Norm,
I know, I
would
forgot
you-
about it.
Would you put that on our next work session as just one of the items, and we'll discuss it? Okay?
Oh, okay.
All right.
Dan, I do have a question. Is there an update on the, obviously not within our control, about the canyon opening? Today, the canyon. I rode my bike today and I was thinking, wow, it's such a nice day. I would love to.
It won't be
Can't
Saturday.
wait. I know.
The canyon opening and closing
Has there been any change?
is on a national schedule
Oh.
now. The
Okay.
gate will not open to Trumbull unless the Forest Service really deems it's perfect. We won't see that until the 15th or the 1st of June.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
That's
And
late.
by then, they're hoping it would be open all the way up through. I don't know if they'll go into partial openings, but under their own regs, they don't have to touch it. You know.
And you don't see any promising.
No, but
No.
but you know
Okay.
what? The whole thing is pretty much done, except they've never done any work at all in Tinney's Flat. So.
Yeah.
They were hoping that it would be open this year, but they haven't. They haven't let out. However, I got an email from the new ranger who started last week, and he is a permanent ranger. His name is Brian Trick. Does that sound right? Have you guys heard it? Should I read this, or should we just leave it as that? I think that's it. I've set up an appointment. I hadn't heard back from him yet, unless I did during this meeting. I will be meeting with him Monday afternoon.
Okay.
So, yeah, it looks good. His name is Brian Trick. Forest Service, he's here, he's assigned, and he's permanent. That's the first permanent one in way too long, and he has asked for a meeting. So, Norm, Jason, I'll send you an invite on that too, or the information, but it's 2 p.m. in my office Monday afternoon. Okay? Yes. Hang on.
That's awesome, though.
Yeah, well, you know what? We'll get a chance to meet the new ranger, and we'll see how that goes too. I don't have anything further. What I would like to do, we need a closed session that may be called to discuss pending or reasonably imminent litigation, collective bargaining, and/or purchase, exchange, lease of real property, a proposed development agreement, a project proposal, or financing proposal related to the development of land owned by the state.
I'll make a motion to enter into that.
Motion to adjourn to that closed session.
Second?
It's been seconded. Travis?
Aye.
Lynn?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Art?
Aye.
Ryan?
Aye.
It's 8:47. We'll adjourn from that. When we're finished in that meeting, we'll come back into this council meeting and close. Thank you all for attending. We want to thank the hundreds that have been here today. We appreciate you very much.